they own that fucking radio station. You
Yeah.
know he's not on the plane.
Douchey balls and sweaty balls, this is Scotch Sporting.
I don't like the show title.
No,
I do, but
I mean,
like objectively, it's clever.
okay. It was like it sounds better than it looks. That's the problem with it.
Yeah. No, objectively, it's very clever. Just like in my heart,
Oh yes,
it hurts.
in all of our souls.
It hurts still.
I don't think this is something that this fan base is ever going to get over.
It was. How close would we compare it to the Kawhi Leonard situation?
No, this is a lot closer because
Yeah,
money was on the table.
right.
That's
And
no.
if-
I'm saying
and if
like
the
in
Dodgers
terms of
hadn't
like.
offered it, he would have taken the Jays' money.
Yeah, I'm saying in terms of how much it captivated.
Oh, this
Toronto.
I think this
Look,
is
Shohei is so much bigger.
this is more.
Because I'm like Raptors fans got over it.
Well,
Yeah.
because we also won a championship the year before, so it's like,
Yeah.
Right. And this was like this would have been the start of something.
Shohei is one of the greatest athletes
Of all
of
time.
all time.
Yes.
So even that puts this all in a completely different
Yeah,
category.
and it was had he chose Toronto, it's like holy shit, he chose Toronto.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And it's not, it's not he was drafted, it's not he got traded. He chose out of all the places he would have he chose Toronto. And it would have been a huge fucking deal. And here we are.
For the city, like for tourism,
the city, for the
everything.
country, for
everything, for the
sports
country.
in general. Because now all of a sudden, if this guy's like, "Hey, Toronto's good enough," maybe some
Or I want to go play with Shohei.
for
and help him win
baseball,
it.
for baseball for sure. But I mean, even for the Raptors, it might be a good thing, right? To be like, well,
MLS.
yeah, maybe.
No, I think basketball's still different just because if it was an American player, a big American player, okay.
Like Cody Bellinger.
No, I mean, if someone like had Aaron Judge or like Mike Trout said, "I want to go to Toronto,"
Right.
that'd be a big fucking deal.
Yeah, I guess. I still feel like this is bigger than either of those guys.
No,
How
but in terms of
shitty.
my appeal for like American,
No, I got you.
Yeah.
Put yourself in Mike Trout's shoes right now. What are you thinking?
I'm sure he's drying his tears with all that money he's got rolling
Yeah.
in.
Or he's only got the
Do
one
you-
shoe because his other foot's still healing.
Yeah.
Do you think he genuinely doesn't care?
I mean, I'm
I
sure he
think he cares.
cares, but I think everybody knew that. Like, everybody knew Shohei wasn't going back to the Angels.
No, but just to see it, like
Yeah.
it's done now.
The best years of my career are over.
Yeah.
But the best
And I
years of his
wasted
career
them.
have also been spent injured too for him.
Right. And I mean, I guess are we doing a backwards show today, or because
We can bounce around.
what I was gonna say, like the thing that kills me is this is his second Tommy John.
Yeah.
But Tommy John now is a lot different than it was before because, like before, when you got Tommy John, you were done.
Sure.
One Tommy John, you were done.
Yeah.
Now guys come back for Tommy John like it's nothing.
Sure, but there's no guarantee.
No,
that-
this is almost $1 billion
right.
to someone
And
who
what
has
happens?
had two.
Right. And what
pretty
happens if in
substantial
5 years
surgeries.
he's like, "Oh, I can't pitch anymore"?
That's the case. Still got a good bat.
Does he have
But
a
a
three-quarters of $1 million bat?
$750
I
of
mean,
$1 billion.
Sorry, billion. Billion.
I think that's the risk you take with that, though.
Well, I understand because you're gonna make that money back.
Yeah. And the way they have this contract structured, anyways,
Ridiculous.
it doesn't matter.
Absolutely ridiculous.
Oh yeah, we'll get to that. Unless backward show time.
I'm fine with doing a backwards show.
A full 90. So I mean, we'll talk about everything. But a full 90, he signed with the Dodgers for $700 million.
Yep.
And 97% of his salary, so $680 million, will be deferred until later.
Bonilla style.
Yeah.
I saw that in the year 2043, I believe it was, between Shohei Ohtani and Mookie Betts, the Dodgers will pay $78 million. Mookie Betts will be 50. Shohei Ohtani will be 48.
That's bananas.
For guys that aren't even on your team. Here's the money.
But it is not against any rule.
I mean the MLB is the wild fucking west when it comes to money and salaries. So
the Dodgers might have skirted payroll rules with the unusually structured contract. But as executives had time to process the Ohtani deal, cross-referencing the contract with the collective bargaining agreement rules, a broader truth settled in. The Dodgers did nothing wrong.
I didn't. Yeah, like I mean, to me and to me, all of this is moot. Like none of this. I don't care about any of this. Like, whatever.
How long? Okay, it's 10 years, right?
Yep.
So 10 years with Ohtani. Without Ohtani and a very similar roster, how many World Series is this going to buy them?
They're hoping at least one.
Yeah.
They've only had one the last 10 years.
I'd hope so.
What cool thing is your camera doing right now?
I don't know.
It's very found footage.
Or it's trying to lock on and shoot a missile.
Oh no.
Target locked.
I have no idea what this fucking thing's doing.
I think it's cool.
No, it's not cool because this is what's supposed to be on the display screen. It's not supposed to be showing this on the actual camera.
It's like when you see when you're watching the sports broadcast and you see the broadcast view, you have the players' highlighted names and shit.
Oh yeah. There you go.
I think we're good. I don't know. All right, well, we'll leave it for now.
You look great.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I'm very sad because I thought, I don't know, and I'm sure you guys were in the same boat. Like, I thought this was a done deal.
So just let's get to our sadness in 1 second. One more thing about his contract.
Yeah.
Where is it? Okay, it's a monster deal for sure, and a deal that some small market owners will inevitably point to as they angle for changes in the next collective bargaining agreement, even considering deferrals. Shohei Ohtani will cost the Dodgers more in 2024 than the entire Oakland Athletics roster.
Mm-hmm.
You want to talk about contract deferrals? Max Scherzer is on 3 different payrolls. And he's in the top 5 in all 3 teams.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Who's his agent? Do they have the same agent?
I have no idea.
A Shark Tank guy? Same
Oh.
agent as Shark Tank guy? Fuck.
Do we think that was set up?
1,000%. 1,000% I buy into that conspiracy that the whole thing was a setup.
To drive up the price of the Dodgers.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
I'm even on the impression that there was never real interest in coming to Toronto anyways. My firm belief right now is that Toronto was only in there to drive up the price because they knew with the ownership and the ability for Toronto to spend on this that they could go there and make it seem like, hey, you know what? This is a really good option for Shohei, blah, 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 blah. I don't think Shohei or his team had any real interest ever in coming to Toronto. I think the whole thing was a smokescreen. It was all there to get from 500 to 700.
Okay, so let's back up a couple.
It's a win-win for them. If the Dodgers don't pony up the 700, he easily takes the $600 million.
Yeah, or 650. I'd heard the Jays were in the 650 range. 6 to 650.
It was going to be more than $500 million, regardless.
Right.
It was a win-win for him. He was going to get paid.
But he didn't. I don't think he ever wanted to come here. Like, I think
But
the
I think,
whole
I think he would have taken the money at the end of the day. He's like, well, the Dodgers did pony up. That's okay. We'll take the 650 then. Whatever.
sure, yeah,
Or it could, well, I thought the conspiracy was the Dodgers were at 6. And then he did the Toronto thing to drive up the price even
Yeah,
more. So I think
doesn't
at the
surprise
end of the
me.
day, he would have just signed with the Dodgers just for less.
They ultimately wanted Dodgers like final last offer.
Yep.
And they got it.
We
So
got
backing up
used.
a couple steps.
Yeah.
We did get used. Backing up a couple steps. I never had any hope prior to Friday.
Right.
Friday, December the 8th. I never had hope that Shohei was coming to Toronto. I have been a Toronto sports fan too long. We never get the free agents. We never get the splashy signings. There's been a handful of them. George Springer most recently. Even that's like, okay. I think we talked. Does anyone have other examples off the top of their head? I should have.
Outside
maybe-
of hockey, no, nothing.
Yeah, maybe the 92-93 Jays.
Yeah, people wanted to play here then.
Well, back then, the 1993 Jays were also the high-spending team in baseball.
Like Paul Molitor was a rental player, wasn't he?
Yep.
Dave
Like,
Winfield was bought.
Winfield.
Rick Johansson was bought.
That was Roger Clemens was the only one that Dave and I could think of.
No, he signed because Boston wouldn't re-sign him, and he signed out of Jays out of spite, not because they wanted to.
Still.
We'll
I
take
don't care
spite.
why.
And then
we'll
started
take
doing
spite.
drugs. And then started doing drugs to, pump up his numbers.
That's
I don't know if
not
he's
neither here nor
smart.
there.
But at the time, Clemens was not at the top of his game, clearly, which is why the Red Sox let him go.
And he's
But,
like, I'll
like,
show
that-
you.
Yeah.
That
Let
was
me take
kind
these
of the
steroids,
closest.
see what I got now. What?
And outside of hockey, Dave also brought up hockey and the Tavares deal most recently. But like, Canada is where Canadian hockey players want to play, though, right? Like, there is that big draw. I don't know. I think hockey is a little bit different.
Not
No?
necessarily. At the end of the day, I think all players go where the money is.
Where the money is, or where they're gonna win, things like that.
Yeah.
So I didn't have hope. Did you guys have hope before Friday?
Yes, I had
Yeah.
over that last week.
Mm.
I had started picking up a little more, like, oh, this is like it could happen. And I mean, like my TikTok feed was brutal, and like a lot of like Jay's people were talking about the possibility and this and that, and like it started to make sense for me. It started to make sense, and then Friday happened.
Yeah, Mark, why were you optimistic?
Because of all the reports, the odds were going up. It all made sense.
The
But
LA
if you
guy,
had any-
the LA guy
yeah, the
doing
LA
that.
guy doubled down on it.
Well, no, not even that. I mean, the LA guy on the TV who was like, "Oh, don't go there because you got to listen to 2 national anthems." It's like they were nervous, and the
Yeah.
fact that they were getting nervous to
Yeah.
me meant, oh,
Gave it. Yeah,
there's
some credence
something
to this.
there's something happening here.
Now, I'd say if you had 0 doubts, I ask, why didn't you put money in the Dodgers then?
Me?
You should put, yeah, if you knew in your heart that he wasn't coming to Toronto, you should have put money in the Dodgers.
Especially when it started coming down, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I never I think that's a mental block of I never like betting against the home team.
Yeah.
And to be honest, wasn't following it closely enough to know before Friday it was down to the Dodgers and Toronto.
Mm-hmm.
I knew Toronto was one of the finalists,
Mm-hmm.
and that I saw Toronto, and I honestly didn't read the other teams. I was like, we're not getting him.
But
We
when you have
never spend that money.
when you had Sports Illustrated writing articles saying he chose Toronto, you had Dodgers Nation writers saying to Dodgers fans, don't forget about it. He's going to Toronto, guys. It's a done deal.
And double
And
down.
then saying that on the
Double
next day,
down
saying
on
it again.
Saturday.
Yeah.
Crazy.
So you guys were optimistic. I was pessimistic, or not wanting myself to get excited or believe.
And that's it.
And
like,
then Friday happened. And then it started with
insane.
the Kikuchi had rented out the sushi restaurant near the Dome for 50 people.
Apparently, that came from a joke someone said on the radio on Thursday. It was a joke, like it wasn't even true.
Wow.
Yeah, someone was taught on some Toronto sports radio station. Someone said, "Oh, you know," and then Kikuchi's gonna rent out one of the sushi places, and then the next day it was in the news, and it's like, well, that's yeah. So
We were trying to figure out. We were a little bit suspicious, but we were trying to figure out what sushi restaurant it could be that was only a 50%.
right,
Like I find the ones in Toronto, especially downtown Toronto, are either massive
or tiny,
and would be like 200 people, or like it's a 10%
wall,
table,
yeah.
and you have to wait in line. So that should have raised alarm bells, because we genuinely had a discussion about which one we thought it was.
Mm-hmm.
And I know a bunch of those sushi restaurants. We couldn't think of one that was 50 people. Anyways, so that's kind of how
They
it
could
started.
have rented out a 200 one for 50 people.
You could. They have money.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I just read it was 50 people the entire restaurant.
Right.
Okay. And then it was the plane.
The plane.
And then it was a private plane that Kikuchi has flown before. And it turns out,
Ohtani.
I don't think he's Ohtani. Oh, the Kikuchi thing is relevant because they were best friends, like went to school together. The thought was Kikuchi could draw Ohtani
Right.
to Toronto.
Right.
He'd be like, if he needed something to push you over the edge, here's your buddy, is already here. And we were all like, well, this is why it makes sense. Like, Kikuchi's still on the team. He was the carrot. Great news. So Ohtani, I don't think had ever flown that plane before. Because I read an interview with Herjavec, and
Yeah.
it sounded like it was his, or like he used it a lot.
Right, but because I had heard that that's the one he used the previous week to go to Oakland, and then he went to Hawaii, where I guess his girlfriend lives. Like
Herjavec?
or this plane? No, Ohtani.
Ohtani.
Like this plane had gone to San Francisco. It had gone to Hawaii, and it all lined up with where he had been, or where he likely could have been if they couldn't prove.
Yeah.
And then yeah, it's on its way to Toronto
But I didn't
from
read that
the airport that's right by where he lives.
Mm-hmm. So the plane had obviously a particular tail number. The article I read didn't say anything about he flew on that specific plane. He had just been known to fly on that type of plane.
Right.
So flying from Anaheim,
Mhm.
where he lives, where the Angels are, to Toronto. And that's a weird flight path. It's not one you see every day. December 8th was the date that he signed with the Angels.
Also a lucky day as far as Japanese culture, from what I understand.
It's lucky in Chinese culture.
Oh,
No, the number 8 is just lucky in general for Asian culture.
Okay, but it's
I will
not
have to
specifically December 8th. It's just any
No.
8.
It's 8.
Any 8. That's why a
And
lot of people got married on August 8th, because 8/8.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
And a circle is lucky, so 8 is double lucky.
Oh, well, there you go.
And that is so I grew up in that, I know, because I grew up in Markham, which has an incredibly high Hong Kong population. And if you had an 8 in your house number, it always sold really well. And if you had a 4, which is an incredibly unlucky number, your house sat on the market.
Wow.
Anyways, the more
What
you
if
know.
you lived at 84 or 48?
Oh,
Yeah.
Does it cancel out?
Do they cancel them out?
Or
If someone
you just don't.
If someone of Chinese descent could please
Yeah.
add us on Instagram, it would be extremely helpful. I have to apologize to Dave. Dave said the same thing, and I was like, "That's Chinese, you idiot."
Yeah.
Now I'll go apologize if it's just a lucky number in Asian culture in general. Mine was about Pearl Harbor. So
Okay.
mine was maybe worse because it's the day after Pearl Harbor Day.
Was it December 7th?
December 7th is Pearl Harbor Day. So he
Jeez.
didn't want to make the announcement as a Japanese player signing in America on Pearl Harbor Day.
Right.
So he was waiting for the 8th. So obviously my logic did not pan out. So we I don't know how this spun out of control, but we started getting excited. And
Well,
I think
and you
we
had
would have held it back if it was just like social media stuff, but a couple of legitimate
the
reporters.
MLB retweeted something. It retweeted one of the airplane rumors.
The big reporter with this was John Morosi.
Yes.
Said, and he's legitimate with solid credibility.
Mm-hmm.
He is on that plane with his agent.
Yep.
And
said and someone said, "Oh, press conference scheduled for 6 p.m."
Yeah.
And a writer from Dodgers Nation, a legitimate Dodgers website, a legitimate reporter said what Mark said earlier, like start moving on, Dodgers fans, because he's chosen, and he chose Toronto.
Sports Illustrated wrote a whole article saying how the Dodgers missed out on a talent like Ohtani and how they're going to recover from that.
And I was at my parents' house, and my mom was yelling downstairs that she was listening to the Fan 590, and they had announced like our program's going to end early for a special coverage. And Kevin Barker and Jeff Blair, who do Jays Talk in season and only come in for huge events, were stopping someone's show. They were coming in to do presumably.
And this is where Rogers made the biggest mistake.
Yeah.
Because doing that like to me, when I hear that's happening, it's a done deal. They own that fucking radio station. You know he's not on the plane. What are you doing?
Like, that's when I was like, okay, I was the same. That's when I was like, okay, because ownership, the fucking team that owns this broadcast station is the ones that signed this deal. They would know, hey, our top baseball reporters, get in the office right now.
Right.
I can't tell you why. Wink,
Wink,
but you're
wink.
going on at 5 o'clock.
Yeah,
wink,
we need
wink.
you on the air.
So I think I was the same as you. I think that's when I was like, okay, I believe.
Yeah.
And Dave and I had we had an event that evening. We were going to Boney M, which was everything I could have possibly imagined. Side tangent on that. That woman is batshit. The lead singer of Boney M,
Okay.
Liz Mitchell, is bonkers in the most wonderful way. She
Okay.
sings most of her songs with her eyes closed. Whatever, maybe it's a stage fright thing. She went on many rants between songs, including one of them how she was a citizen of the world and listed the races that she was, and then started listing races that she wanted to be or felt she was, and then finished on maybe I'm also a big red Indian.
Mm-hmm.
And the awkward pause of 4,000 people. And then one of her backup singers just leaned into the mic and went, Indigenous.
Nice.
Was incredible. And this was at Casino Rama, mind you, on noted native Canadian land.
Mm-hmm.
And then she came out and talked about she doesn't watch the news because it makes her cry. There's so many beautiful people and she just loves people. And she walked into the audience, made a teenager stand up and said, doesn't this young man deserve to live? Don't you think this young man deserves to live?
Is she gonna kill him?
And I was like, are we voting to kill this guy? Because, like, I guess I don't want to kill him now, if that's the question.
Right. I'd rather him get home safe tonight. Thank you.
He was clearly there with his parents. Doesn't he deserve to live? Well, yeah, I guess. I don't know him or anything, but I don't want to kill him now. And Mark called it, they did half Christmas, half their usual hits. They ended with Rasputin and then their big
You have to.
Mary's Boy Child Christmas song. And Dave made an incredibly, adorably astute observation when someone who doesn't grow up celebrating Christmas said, "Man, these songs are really religious." I was like, "Well, yeah, they're Christmas songs,
About
Dave." And he's
Jesus.
like, "No, but it's all about like Jesus being born and all about Jesus."
Yeah,
It's like, well,
that's what Christmas is. Maybe
That's
we need to teach them about Christmas.
it's like, well, that's Christmas, dear. Anyways, so Dave and I we were going to leave my parents' house. It was about an hour drive. We want to check into the hotel, change, go for dinner. So we were going to leave at like 4. And when I heard about Jeff Blair and Kevin Barker having an announcement at 5, I was like, Dave, do you want to stay?
Right.
And we'll leave at 5. We'll run to the hotel, have dinner at the casino. And like, do you want to stay and watch this press conference?
Yeah.
And God bless, he said, nope. It's important tonight. You know, we have a night out. We can listen to it on the radio.
Yeah,
and I was like, I'll stream it on my phone.
Yeah.
Thank God. Can you imagine? Because what did they get on the radio and say? Hey, folks, we don't know any more than you do.
Right. And it's like,
we know nothing.
Like someone in Rogers in the front office of that team knew that Shohei wasn't on the plane. They knew no deal was imminent.
But someone was just like ratings enough, like get these guys on the air to make it think, or
I don't know, man. I don't know. Like, and if that's the case, that's shitty too. Like, that's a shitty way to the way they should have handled this is they should have come out and said, "Hey, listen, we have nothing to announce. We're waiting like everybody else. But as far as we know, he's not on a plane on his way here." That's all they had to say, and do it early.
They started
definitely don't bring these guys in on the radio.
They listed everything that they knew, and then I don't know if it was them or one of the guests they had on started like kind of talking it through aloud. Thank God, because it was radio. And that's when things started to be like, he's not on that plane. And so first of all, he's not on the plane. Second of all, he's not signing in Toronto. It was things like, guys, there's been nothing about a physical. There's been nothing about like there was something else, another check that they had to do. Like, he's not just going to, you have to run this by the collective bargaining agreement. Like, he's not going to fly to Toronto, sign and announce the signing at the same time.
Right.
Like the reality of that alone is bizarre.
Makes sense. Yeah.
Like, there's no way. Maybe they did the physical before, like, and they're so good that just didn't leak. But the fact they didn't have a sort of agreement in place to go through and just like get it approved.
Yeah.
They wouldn't just announce this.
The way I didn't think he was coming to sign because of all that stuff. I just thought that they were going to do a big announcement at the Dome or something and just like
I've made my decision.
Right. I made my decision. I choose Toronto. Where's
But then even thinking
let's get the sushi.
They wouldn't have done that, like, because it would have it could have fallen apart, whatever. When did you guys start going,
Well, when there was one tweet that was like, he is not on that plane. He is at home. And I'm like, oh.
And then a bunch of people confirmed that. And I'm like, oh.
Oh, yeah. Well, who was that reporter?
I don't
It starts with
remember.
a B, doesn't it? And it was another, like, equally as legitimate. It was like, guys, trust. He's not on the plane.
Right.
And then the second reporter said the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Blue Jay, they happened to have the Ben Nicholson-Smith on, or they were talking about him. And he was like, yeah, guys, I'm hearing the same things.
Right.
As soon as that happened, I was paying attention to Jeff Passan's Twitter because he's usually really bang on. And then that's when I saw the 10-year, $700 million.
Yeah.
And
Well, that was until the next day.
Yeah. So but I was watching his Twitter because he up to that point had nothing.
Right.
No speculations, nothing. It was quiet. He only put out what was confirmed, and his tweet was the contract. I'm like, oh, great.
Yeah. So he wasn't on the plane, obviously.
Yeah.
It was fucking Robert Herjavec, who, like, at least I'm glad it was a Canadian celebrity.
Right.
You know, he's a cool guy. I think he's fun.
Although I think he's in on this.
And then supposedly there was the interview with him.
Mhm.
The plane was supposed to leave at 9, and it caused a bit of a frenzy because it didn't leave until 9:40,
Right.
which supposedly added to, like, Shohei getting cold feet. They're just waiting to shore things up in Toronto. Like, it just added to the narrative. His kids were hungry and they just stopped for breakfast.
Right.
And he said that's the beauty of having your own plane, is you can just call and say, I'm going to be late.
Yeah.
So it was just fucking Robert Herjavec. And this is suspicious too. He says he never turns his phone off,
Right.
but he did for this one.
Sure.
Because they just flown, his wife is Australian, and they just flown back from Australia. She stayed, and he was flying back alone with the kids. And they were just so nutty that day in that flight.
Sure.
He gave them all their toys, all their treats,
Sure.
whatever, and he turned his phone off.
Bullshit.
So the conspiracy is
bullshit.
he is repped by the same agency that reps Shohei.
Yep.
And the conspiracy is the Dodgers had an offer. Shohei wanted to stay in LA. He wanted to play for the Dodgers. Like, we all understand. It's the reason I was pessimistic.
Mhm.
Toronto's incredible. We're an amazing city, but pocketbooks and star power and reach and readiness to win a championship, like the Dodgers, have the leg up for sure.
Readiness to win a champion. Listen.
Maybe.
Listen. Shohei
I think
signs here.
Toronto's going to be great.
No. Listen. Shohei signs here. All of a sudden, filling that third base spot becomes a little bit easier, right? Because I think if Shohei signs here, I think Chapman's like, oh, hey, how's it going, guys? Maybe I want to play third base again. You know what I mean?
Just
Like,
one more year. I'll sign like in the year.
Yeah. And getting that extra outfield spot, that's super easy too. You know what I mean? Like, all of a sudden, those little pieces that are missing, they're full and full with better guys than what we're gonna get now.
Yeah,
I
True.
honestly
I guess
think.
I just meant,
I
like,
honestly think if he signed here, they're contending this year. They're contending next year, and then
I would agree.
And then the Jays are like, because of that, for the next 10 years, they have to put money into the team. They have to be consistent.
I think I meant it with Shohei not on either team. The Dodgers have a bit of an edge in terms of if you trotted the Dodgers out the way they are now versus the Jays the way they are now.
They don't have the pitching that the Jays have.
They don't have the pitching at all.
If the Jays hitters figure it out.
If the Jays hitters figure it out, look out, man.
I don't think the Jays are going to have a bad season.
That's hitting coach.
So you guys think the Herjavec that was set up?
Yes, 100%.
And then for me, as soon as he wasn't on that plane, I was back to what I had been when I woke up on Friday morning, which was, well, he's not signing with Toronto.
I was still hopeful, but it definitely was like a gut punch because it's
and
like,
then, Toronto's still the finalist. I was like, okay, and we will be.
Yeah.
We will be a finalist.
Still when that
first runner-up.
Dodgers Nation reporter doubled down again. Okay, so
Right.
maybe.
But man,
It
that
was
waking up
sad.
Saturday morning was like I was legitimately sad.
Yeah.
Because
When we got the news confirmed, it was sad.
it was going to be the biggest thing in this city
Ever.
ever.
Sports wise ever.
Yes. Like you can't compare it to anything else.
And it's sad. I was sad. And they made a good point, Jeff and Kevin, and this is before it was official, of like, I think it was Sid Seixeiro, because of how the Jays season ended, this just kind of makes it worse. Like, it makes it feel worse.
Yeah. And had they landed Shohei, last season doesn't matter.
Who cares?
Right. But the fact that they missed, and now not only did you miss because you were waiting in the wings on this, you missed out on Soto. You missed out on who was the third baseman that went to Cincinnati?
Oh, right. Yeah, I forget. It's a generic name.
Yes.
Feller. Yeah.
So like they've missed out on a couple of pieces that, and I mean, we heard they were in on Soto.
Mm-hmm.
So now the Soto thing, I'm not that huge on because he's only got 1 year on his contract, right?
Yeah, that's the thing.
And
You don't trade for him unless you can guarantee a resign. If you can't guarantee a resign, don't make a trade.
right. And
Don't be the
apparently,
Padres.
I read that his agent is very interested in getting him on the free market next year. So
Absolutely, because
Yeah.
he can make $500 million.
yeah. So
And Bellinger is a big name still available.
yeah.
The Jays are interested. I'm like, everything feels so like, well, okay, thanks.
I mean,
Thanks.
if they can, well, and you saw that Cody Bellinger's girlfriend posted on Instagram that she was in Toronto.
Great.
So
Great. I hope you enjoyed it. I like no frenzy. They were just coming to check it out, see if they liked it.
yeah.
Well, I think the joke with Ohtani was even if that was him on the plane, like dealing with that traffic at rush hour.
Oh God, yeah. Turn
There's
around and
no
get back on the
there's
plane.
no way he's signing.
here's
And
the
it was
thing.
such a
Hang
foggy,
on, though.
shitty day.
Hang on though. The traffic in LA is 1,000 times worse than traffic in Toronto. Let's be serious here.
But
You seen that fucking highway, that 405? Like-
So many fucking overlaps.
what did LA have on December 8th? Or
That's-
probably have that Toronto did not
He
as
doesn't
sitting in
have
rush
to
hour traffic.
move. He can live in his same house.
Warmth and maybe sunshine,
Right.
But earthquakes.
but earthquakes.
That's right. One day that whole city's gonna sink into the ocean. Hope you're not
maybe
there
that'll
for it,
happen
Shohei.
soon.
He gets
that was
booed.
ominous.
He gets booed, right? Coming to town?
Yeah.
Like they boo the
No.
shit out of him. What do you mean no?
No.
What do you mean no? He
They
used this
used
whole
us.
city.
You boo the Dodgers. You don't boo
No,
Ohtani.
you boo him. No, he
No.
did it.
The
Mark,
Dodgers
do you
are
believe in the
victims too.
conspiracy? Do you believe that
I
this was
do.
all a setup? Then you boo the
Yeah.
shit out of him because
I
that's
don't.
Ah,
The
Guy got
Dodgers,
his, man.
the Dodgers are rich, well-off victims in this too.
yeah.
Maybe his agent will come to the game.
And we'll just boo the agent.
Yeah.
That agent better never come to Toronto.
Even if he makes a percent, one singular percent
Mhm.
of that contract, my God,
It's pretty good. It's pretty good money.
that's
And
pretty
you know
fucking
he
good.
makes way more than 1%.
I'd just retire, wouldn't you? Thanks so
No.
much.
No way.
I
You
want
got
more
that?
money.
I can get more.
And I guess that's why Shohei signed with the Dodgers. More money. Do you see them winning?
No.
Within the
Not
next,
this year. Not this year.
They don't have the pitching still.
let's assume the
you see the
roster
video?
is.
Did you see the video of the kid? He was a Diamondbacks fan. And the news broke and he's crying. He's like 11-year-old kid and he's bawling his eyes out. And he's like, they signed Shohei Ohtani and we're never going to get to the World Series again. And he's just bawling it. It's like, I friggin' hate the Dodgers. And the dad's comforting him and he's like, I hate the Dodgers too, kid. It's okay. And he's like, this is
Oh.
not fair. The Dodgers get everything. So
Yeah.
cute. And I feel for that kid because that sucks.
Because we live
Hey,
it in Toronto
yeah,
with the Yankees.
We got the fucking Yankees in town, so
And now the stupid Dodgers. So let us say, obviously, that we can't predict what the roster will look like in the next 5 years, but let's say very similar. Are they winning? Is Shohei Ohtani enough to get them to win in the next 5 years? The way they are right now.
If they can get pitching,
yeah.
not right now. The
I'm-
roster as currently built does not win.
I'm with
So
Mark.
next year, when Shohei's back from Tommy John, is him being in your starting rotation enough to push you over the edge?
No, because I need to see how he performs in the playoff. Because Kershaw, great pitcher, shitty playoff pitcher.
Like
yeah, that's
David
a fun
Price.
sentence we have to remember.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, like David Price. And not only did you just spend almost $750 million, very close to $1 billion Canadian, on an athlete that has had 2 major surgeries in his not very long career, he's also never won a playoff game.
Never been in a playoff game.
Huh?
Yeah.
So you don't know how he's going to perform in the playoffs.
Exactly.
Didn't
He
he?
might
Wasn't
be
he?
like-
Did Yu Darvish just suck overall, or he beefed it in the playoffs, didn't he?
It's hard to say because he's barely been in the playoffs as well.
Because he was a huge signing.
Yeah.
And then
But he's on his fourth team now.
I forget if he just wasn't very good or he just ate it when it counted the most.
So, what about this Yamamoto?
Apparently, the Dodgers might get him too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're one of the finalists to get him.
Great.
Which, like, obviously, here's a dump truck of money, and we've also signed like this other incredible Japanese talent.
Mm-hmm.
Come and play together. Yeah, that's what I
just
read.
Stop watching baseball.
So tell me, as this always comes up, talk to me about how you feel about a salary cap in baseball.
I think it's ridiculous that there isn't one.
Well,
Because-
there isn't one because the owners, the rich ones, won't
Don't
allow
want
it to
one.
happen.
Yeah.
Because that was a debate or discussion that Dave and I had about, because Dave was like, oh, the Tavares signing. And I think that's, for me, partially also why hockey isn't it comparative, because there are max contracts. So you'll get the players that are signing because it's a winning franchise, or Tavares because it, hometown hero and winning franchise.
Should have went with
Maybe.
the Sharks.
I'm
never gonna let it go.
Baseball, it's a dump truck of money.
Mhm.
I found a fun Reddit poll that offered an option of baseball doesn't need salary cap; it needs a floor.
Yes. That is absolutely true.
But again, then there are those owners who don't want that because they want to strip the team and sell for profit.
Right.
So strip it to, but like if you want to play in I think the reply was if you're playing $1 billion game, you better have $1 billion or you don't get to play the game.
Right. So there's this other thing going around that this is good for baseball, Shohei being in LA, because the biggest stars should be in the biggest markets. And then you look at
And
something
they should be
like
playing the playoffs.
right,
you know?
and then you look at something like the NFL, where what city does the best quarterback in the NFL right now play in?
San Francisco.
Okay, Mark, the real best quarterback in the NFL.
Is it Baltimore?
It's not Kansas City.
I'll give you Baltimore, and I'll give you Kansas City. Those would be two of the top quarterbacks in the league.
Oh, you're talking about Prescott?
No, I was talking about.
Oh,
I
Mahomes?
was talking about Mahomes playing in
Crybaby
Kansas
Mahomes?
City.
Crybaby Mahomes?
Yeah, crybaby Mahomes. We'll get to it. Josh Allen is a top 5, top 7 quarterback in the league. Plays in
Yeah.
fucking Buffalo.
No
Joe
one likes
Burrow
Buffalo.
plays in fucking Cincinnati.
Worse than
You
Buffalo.
have your star players in the most profitable league on the planet. Maybe not on the planet, but it's definitely up
Yeah.
there. And you
Of
have
the
these
4?
stars in these tiny markets, and you're still making money. So fuck
Well,
off with that. Oh, the big players need to be, because like, look at the LA teams; they're both a joke. Look at the New York teams; they're both a joke. Although, I guess not this week. But like,
So that I think that's just a case in the NFL. The biggest markets aren't the biggest American cities.
Well, no, here's the thing. They're able to spread the money around because of the TV contract. So everyone gets to spend the same amount of money.
Right.
They have to,
right?
right? So someone's going to get the money. So Joe Burrow can go sign Cincinnati because he knows he'll get top dollar regardless.
But has LA ever been like a big market team? The Giants maybe have back in the day.
LA for football.
Yeah.
The two teams they just got over the last 5 years.
Yeah.
You
Didn't
know,
they
like
have a team
that
before?
they did in the 80s.
Yeah,
And the
that's
late
what, like,
90s.
that's what I mean. Like I think with the NFL, the biggest cities don't equate to the biggest franchises.
Right.
Because I would argue Kansas City is a huge profitable franchise for the NFL.
Sure.
Just the
Well,
city
now
isn't
it is.
that big.
Yeah,
If you look historically, like it's the Green Bays, the Dallas, the New England, San
Green
Fran.
Bay's a good example. New England's a good example.
Yeah.
New England isn't even in a goddamn. It's not even in a goddamn state. The New England Patriots.
It's
in
all of
Foxborough,
New England.
Massachusetts.
It's an area.
Green Bay's a great example. You know what's in Green Bay? Absolutely nothing.
Nothing.
Cheese.
Cheese. There's a Target that I got a
Ooh.
hat at. There's a hotel that we stayed at that has a casino. I think that's it we found in Green Bay, Wisconsin. And then it's Lambeau Field. So I think football, the biggest markets aren't the biggest cities, but in baseball, the biggest markets are the biggest cities.
But they don't have to be.
Yeah, because the NFL, again, the money's spread out evenly with those huge TV contracts.
Right.
Those small market teams can survive.
God, I bet the MLB wish they could get a TV deal like the NFL has.
Yeah, right.
So I found an article about not really arguing against a salary cap, but saying it doesn't really matter. And I thought this was an interesting statistics. The MLB hasn't seen a repeat champ in a very long time. So this article is from 2022. It is now up to 21 straight World Series where we've crowned a new champion.
Wow.
So they don't need it, is the argument. And I guess that's the case of Major League Baseball as a collective is doing well, so we don't really care about our individual franchises.
But there is still a trend for big market teams to do successful. Because look at the Astros. Was it 6 straight ALCS appearances now?
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
In the NBA, the Lakers won 3 straight titles from 2000 to 2002 and later repeated. The Heat went back-to-back, and then so did the Warriors. The NHL currently has back-to-back defending champions in the Lightning. So this is a year ago. Pittsburgh also went back-to-back in 16 and 17. And over in the NFL, the Patriots repeated in 2004 to 2005, and then all of those times afterwards. Why? So baseball with its insane... Is there parity in baseball because people can spend so much money?
No, there's not parity. There's levels of teams in baseball.
Yeah. And then you get lucky with that outlier, like the Tampa Bay.
Like Baltimore. Like Baltimore
and
this
Washington.
year. Yeah.
And Washington.
Like how many games do you think Baltimore's going to win in 24?
I say 92.
Right. They're not going to do what they did this year.
No.
Here's it for you. The MLB champion. So yes, the argument is there's been no repeat teams because there's already parity, blah, blah, blah. But I think you guys are right. It's a split down the middle with those couple outliers. So here are a list of MLB champions this century from most championships won to least. We have the Red Sox, big market, Giants, big market, Yankees, lol. Cardinals, they're big. They have a huge payroll, don't they?
No, but they're not like low
Did you say
level.
they're middle? So Diamondbacks, we have our outlier. The Angels.
That was a team with Randy Johnson and Kurt Schilling,
That's
by
right.
the way.
This is 2001. So yeah, huge payroll at the time. Angels in 2002. The Marlins, small 2003.
That was a lucky one, wasn't it? Like a Cinderella kind of.
It's
so we
funny
have
because
one.
They did it twice. They did it in the 90s, doing the same thing. And then as soon as they won, they stripped the team because that's not what the owner wanted.
Yeah, I don't want to win.
They did it twice.
Yeah.
And the same thing happened twice to 2 different owners.
White Sox in 2005.
Oh yeah.
So we have our one outlier, the Phillies, the Royals.
Royals were an outlier.
Yep.
So we have 2, the Cubs, the Astros, the Nationals, the Dodgers, and the Braves. So we have
But
2.
Here's what the Royals did. They sucked for 8 years, built up those draft picks, and then won.
We have 2 outliers.
Well, then now they're garbage again.
Now they're garbage again because they can't afford to keep those players.
Right.
And the Marlins, and maybe that's what the Marlins did, but by accident. They were trash. Accidentally got a bunch of draft picks.
Yeah.
Did
Got
well.
really good,
and then,
and then
oh,
all
crap.
players.
How do we come back from this emotionally, Mark?
Find a different hitting coach to start. Maybe bring back Bichette.
That's fans.
I don't think there is coming back from this.
How do we get us fans excited?
When you get this close to the sun, we flew too close to the sun.
You know what you do? You do what Ted Lasso says. Be a goldfish.
Be a goldfish.
Yeah.
It's not
I
wrong.
think it was just what Sid Seixeiro had said, which was because of how the season ended, we were already going into next season being like,
Yep.
okay.
And
It felt harder.
what's
going in.
what's Vlad and Bo got left? 2 years? So
Mhm.
24 and 25, and then they're free agents.
Mm-hmm.
And you got to make
No,
some
Didn't Vladdy
decisions.
sign a?
I thought they had both.
Bo's the only one I don't think has signed an extension yet. Vladdy, I thought signed an extension.
Okay. Still,
Hold on, let me
you
check.
got to make some decisions soon.
Mm-hmm.
And are we sticking with this core? Are they? Does Bo want to stay? If Otani's here, I bet Bo stays.
Yeah.
I bet Bo stays for a little bit of hometown discount. Not now.
Yep.
Not now. Bo's, if he finds his bat, Bo's gonna get.
And it's
Bo's gonna
nothing-
get.
Well, Bo's bat was fine last year.
Yeah,
That's
Bo
true.
wasn't the
Hitting.
problem.
That's true.
I don't know. I just,
Because Bo's gonna get.
if I'm a player,
paid.
oh yeah. If I'm a player, I'm not blaming ownership. I think ownership did everything
No, they
right.
did everything
you know?
they could. I don't think the Blue Jays did anything wrong in this scenario. I think
I
everything
would
they
just
did,
be
the fact that we were
dejected.
there, we were
Yeah.
right there.
I would just be dejected with, and maybe that's just how I feel as a fan of like, well, we can't compete with that.
But we did. Like that's the thing is that we were right there, money wise, right there. I think if
People need to remember the Jays have money, and if
Yeah.
they want to, they could be the top payroll team.
Mhm.
They've done it before in the '90s.
I know. I think they
well, it
now
was different
proved
ownership in the
that they have
'90s, but
money.
Yeah, but the '90s they were the top team, spending team.
right. And well, I mean they have better ownership now than they did in the '90s.
That's what I'm saying, right?
And so like Rogers has money. So
Maybe that's it. Maybe that's the story I'll spin in my head is Rogers was too smart to do a deferred contract like that. And that was the deal breaker.
No, that was no deal breaker.
No.
It's just
I think, but I also think that this is a little bit of a blessing because I've been very adamant on this that contract becomes a noose in 5 years. Like in 5
Yeah.
years, you look at that contract and you're like, fuck, because you can't get rid of it. And if you're not winning, well, like, what's the point? So, like, mark it down. Let's look back in 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
Is this a
like-
good?
remember when people lost their shit because we didn't want to re-sign David Price to that mega contract?
Yeah.
That thing was dead in 2 years.
Yeah.
That contract.
Shohei's 29.
Yeah.
In 10 years, he will be 39.
39. You think he's going to be
Zero
pitching?
chance.
You think he's going to be pitching and hitting the way he is now in 7 years? I don't think so. You're still paying him $70 million a year. Sorry, you're paying him $2 million and deferring it for 27 years afterwards.
Yeah.
But it's just one of those things where it comes down to it would have been great, and maybe this is me trying to justify it in my head, like trying to get over it. Like it would have been great, but at one point we would have been like, oh, this contract, man.
Yeah.
We're already doing that with the Springer contract.
Right. Exactly. So
Just still a bummer.
yeah. It
My justification is just the surgeries. I'm like, well, that's you know what?
Yep.
We're better off that we didn't
that
sink
was
that much
Lindsay's thing.
money.
Well, Lindsay, who also works for Rogers, was not a big fan of it because she's like, the only people that are gonna have to pay for that contract are the people who work at Rogers, because she's like, oh, all of a sudden all my targets are gonna go up.
Yeah.
Well, then I saw I think a TikTok, but obviously as it went to Instagram because I'm old, and it was like totaling everything that you buy at Dodger Stadium, like how much 2 hot dogs are, the beers, the tickets themselves, one small souvenir, and then it was an insane total. And they're like, but it is all worth it now.
Yeah.
I was like, you know what? Those $15 tiny beers maybe would have been worth it, but now they're not. Quickly burn through our list because we have 5 minutes left. We did a reverse episode, so this is the Scotch Sporting opposite leadoff cleanup hitter, if you will. 9th man in the rotation. where I will read you guys a topic and you have a minute to discuss, and we'll try and stick to it because we don't have a ton of time. The first, it is mostly just a minute for Mark to yell, but both New York quarterbacks were declared the players of the week in the NFL, and I believe this makes Mark very angry. So 1 minute on the clock. Let's go.
Zach Wilson, I'm okay with because he did throw for 300 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a win, convincing win, 36. DeVito threw for 158 yards. He gets NFC Player of the Week. Like,
But-
Why is he being so
but-
captivating?
But Brock
Because
Purdy
he-
only
he's
throws.
a-
He only throws 10-yard outs, Mark.
Oh yeah, because
I saw it. I saw the bomb to Devo, and I'm like, oh, he only throws 10-yard outs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Me and Paul were like, oh, that's a long check down. Nope, that's another long check down. But it feels like NFC's like most heartwarming story of the week. DeVito totally gets it.
Sure.
Absolutely.
I mean, can't you give it to him for that though? Can't you just give it to
No.
him for that?
It's offensive player. It's offensive player of the week.
What's his heartwarming story? That just he was an undrafted rookie?
Undrafted rookie, living with his mom still, who has an agent, look like he's out of the fucking Sopranos. With his
Didn't we just do
whole
this
family in
script
the audience.
last year with Brock Purdy? We just did this. We did this
No.
already. This scrappy little, oh, I guess he was drafted, but like the scrappy little Mr. Irrelevant.
Yeah, but you didn't see Brock Purdy win the NFC Offensive Player of the Week.
No, that's what I mean. Like, there's no feel good story because we just did this last year with Brock Purdy. I already
It's
felt good
a
about
fun
him.
story, but why is it worth NFC Offensive Player of the Week? That makes so
Is he
sense.
is he cute? What's his first name again?
No, he's not.
What is it, DeVito?
Tommy DeVito.
Tommy DeVito.
Tommy?
Yeah.
I gotta see. I think I've only seen him with his helmet. Oh no! Come
No,
on.
I warned you, Tay.
He looks like low budget Tony Hawk. Ugh.
Oh, he does look like he's Wish.com Tony Hawk.
Right?
No.
No. Oh, you know who else he looks like? That MAGA wackadoo Josh Hawley.
There.
Oh,
Ah,
yeah.
and
yeah,
this-
I see that. Yeah.
Come on. No, this is annoying. We did this last year and Brock Purdy is more charming. Okay, the in-season NBA tournament happened. How about that? Nice to see a scrappy little upstart in the LA Lakers. And an unknown rookie, LeBron James, win the tournament and he won MVP. Like, good for them. Who cares? I think Dave had money on it, so I was sort of aware of what was happening at the time. Then they celebrated with champagne and they did a big locker room hoopla and they're going to raise a banner at their next game.
God, really?
Yep.
They're going to raise a banner. So, well, I guess minute on the clock. I watched a video with Mad Dog
Mad Dog's not
from
happy.
ESPN and he's like, "No, are you fucking
Yelling the
kidding
entire
me?"
time?
Yes,
Yeah.
pretty much.
It's 2 minutes of him screaming to the camera. Basically, this is dumb. You
Yeah.
are like the most storied franchise in basketball. And you're so minute on the clock, please. How do you guys feel about the Lakers celebrating this completely made up championship?
No. We talked about this when the Jays made the playoffs and did the same thing. You don't celebrate this. Not like that. You celebrate, we got the trophy, cool, whatever. Maybe have some beers after the game, but you don't put the fucking goggles on and you're spraying the champagne at each other. Get out of here.
Yeah.
Get
I
out of here.
I like to think that LeBron is so invested in the health and longevity of the NBA as a businessman. He knows their success is his success. They put a call and were like, "Could you pretend that this is exciting, please?" Because he was like,
I mean,
No, that is like, and we'll let you win.
"Yeah, if we will give you guys some favorable calls. Maybe
Yeah.
you'll win MVP, so you'll get the purse for that. Could
'cause
you
he
just
needs
act
it.
like it's a big deal?"
Yeah.
That's my tinfoil hat theory with this.
I like it.
Speaking of, guys, I'm so excited. Next week is going to be our prognostication. I know where we review our stupid
can't
things
wait.
that we said.
I can't
I'm
wait.
so excited. I love listening back the day before, and like we're so dumb. So I know we wrote down our answers, but I like listening because sometimes we'll just say things off the cuff and
Mhm.
it's like, wow, you thought that was going to happen? I swear, although I will roll back the tapes, I said Belichick was not lasting this season. I swear this is one of my prognostications.
Ooh.
I know I did this for our NFL kickoff,
Yeah.
that I was pretty sure something like he was getting fired. Close. We'll see what I actually said.
Right.
But the Patriots and Belichick have announced that this is his last season.
Did they announce it?
Yep.
Yeah, it was breaking news.
Wow.
Yeah, it's official.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
A
thought it
couple
was.
days ago. And the articles I posted were Belichick giving his very classic Belichick-y answer when asked, like, what does the future hold for you? And he said, I'm getting ready to face Kansas City.
Yeah, we're on to Kansas City.
And I was like, oh, is he like, if Andy Reid retired, like they're going to do a switcheroo? And I was like, oh no, they're literally
They're
just
playing Kansas City next week.
They're just playing Kansas City. Of course, it's Belichick. Why would he say anything else? The question for you, gentlemen, it's two-parter. First, mutual. And second, are we seeing him coach an NFL team next year? This will be a prognostication question. So whatever you say now, you can definitely change when we have that episode in the new year.
Yes.
Mutual. Yeah, I think so. And yes, he will be coaching in San Diego
Ooh, why San Diego?
because there isn't a team there anymore. And I legitimately forgot that. Like, I legitimately was like, oh, right. Because I thought when you called me out on the text, when you said,
Yeah.
what's San Diego? And I'm like,
Yeah.
did I spell it wrong? Like, that's what I thought was like, I had made a typo and
Even
spelled
though the-
San Diego wrong.
So twice you didn't even realize it.
That's right. And then I was like, oh, right. Because I typed like a whale's vagina,
Mhm.
obvious reference to Anchorman. But in my brain, they're still in San Diego because they shouldn't be in LA because nobody in LA cares about them.
Nope.
But yeah, that's where he will be next year. That he will be in LA coaching the Chargers and Herbert. And I don't like that for a lot of reasons.
Oh, that's a good one. Or I would say Cincinnati because both of those men are
Ooh.
very aesthetically
Yes.
Brady-esque.
Yeah. Although I
Mark-
saw a
No, but
TikTok
Zach Taylor's
today.
not getting fired from Bengals.
I saw a TikTok today about who's playing quarterback for Cincinnati right now,
Jake Browning.
and they were like trying to like make comparisons to him and with the Brady situation with Bledsoe and this.
Yeah.
Like it's like eerily similar.
But you know what? Bengals might want to take that because, again, as we've established in record shows, if you make it to the Super Bowl and you don't win on your first try, you never get back.
Don't get back.
What's the quarterback's name?
Browning.
Jake Browning.
Oh, Jake. I heard Tate Browning, and I was like, that is the most
That would be
American football
that's an
name I
American
have
football name
ever
for
heard
sure.
in my entire life. Jake Browning's pretty close. Yeah, I think it was mutual too, and I think he'll coach somewhere. Yes, and yes to both. For
He
me,
wants that record,
Yeah.
the wins record. Can't do it in New England with that roster.
Nope.
I think it's just he's not done, but he doesn't have a ton of time left, and he looked down the barrel of New England. He's like, yeah, we're not winning for a while, and I don't want to hang out for a rebuild.
Because he
And he
needs
wants
what?
that
He
wins
needs
record.
he needs 20 or 30. It's in that neighborhood, right?
Yeah, it's around there. Yeah.
So he's got like 3-4 seasons. He needs to be on a winning team for 3 to 4 seasons to get there.
Yeah.
So
He'll get that with the Chargers.
yes, which I hate.
Next, little bitches are gonna little bitch.
Oh man,
Kansas City is on a little riding the struggle bus lately.
have they lost 3 of 4?
Yeah,
That's crazy.
2 in a row, right?
Yeah.
Who'd have thunk it? I mean, last week was the losing to Green Bay was like, oh, that's not good.
Losing to the Broncos a couple weeks earlier, like, oh, that's weird.
Yeah, that's
Getting
super strange.
destroyed by the Broncos.
Right. Yeah.
was weird.
And
manhandled.
then like this one, even on paper, kind of at the beginning of the season was like, oh, this will be a good game.
Yeah.
I'd say Kansas City has the edge, but like
Especially in
No.
KC.
Why though? Josh
Buffalo.
Allen is undefeated against Mahomes in Arrowhead.
That's true.
He's
It's
3-0.
a fucking Wayne and Gibbons monkey moon thing. Like, there's all these weird things that you don't hear about until after the game that you're like, oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Oh, I could have used that information when I was betting on Sunday.
I think I stayed away from this game.
Yeah, as
Uh,
you would, because it's
But
I had
literally, Literally everything else I had was wrong. But Mahomes kind of
So
lost his shit. So tell me about the play
he was
because I missed
offside.
it.
He was offside. He lined up
Simple as
offside.
that. Simple as that. And the official even commented after the game saying, because I couldn't see the football at all,
Yeah.
it was egregiously offside.
Exactly. He was offside. It's plain
Simple as
and
that.
simple. The rules are there
And
to keep us safe.
And did this call affect the outcome of the game?
Yes,
Yeah,
because
because
that
they scored a
play they
touchdown on
scored a touchdown and a crazy touchdown.
Yeah.
It was like he threw to Kelsey. Kelsey dodges a guy, turns around, throws it to Tony, who was offside. He
Yeah.
catches it, runs it in for a touchdown. Would have been the game winner. Well, there was still like a minute.
It definitely gave him the lead, though, for sure.
It gave him the lead. There was a minute 15 left or something like that. But instead, 5-yard penalty, then a incomplete pass, I believe, and then another incomplete pass. Then they go for it on 4th down, and that was that, because they were not in field goal range.
And then Patrick Mahomes bitched about it.
Shocking. Actually, I am shocked because he's
Really?
never really
Okay, minute.
he's never really done something like this before.
Yeah. And you would think
Minute
for a guy
on
who's
the
won
clock.
Super Bowls and MVP,
Yeah.
he'd have a little bit more,
It's-
maturity about it.
It's shocking to me. And to say it's the worst fucking call you've ever seen,
Yeah.
excuse me? There have been way worse calls. And you won a Super Bowl on a bad call.
Yeah.
So you want to fucking talk about the refs missing a call? Pump the
Yeah.
brakes just a little bit. Just a little bit. It's not an egregious call because it was the right call. Sure, they
Black
don't
and white,
normally
simple.
call it. He's offside.
And all Tony had to do was look over the official and say, "Hey, am I good?"
Right.
And they
will
would've said,
tell you.
"No, back up."
Yeah. And it's funny because there's a shot of him looking over towards the ref.
Yeah.
But then he just looks over and then he like does something with his hand and then he just looks back. And it's like, I don't know what you're doing, kid, but not good. And Patrick Mahomes has done damage to his reputation with all of this. Because like before this, I would have never thought of him as like someone who bitches and moans about stuff. Because
Everyone always hated his brother.
Right.
Everyone hates his wife, and he was the good Mahomes.
Right.
Yep.
And now it's just like it's sad.
So, and he was super rude to Josh Allen,
Yeah,
and
like
has
he's
just
bitching
apologized now.
He's
Yeah.
bitching
Is
to
that
Allen.
Allen.
wasn't
the
his
game.
fault?
Fucking worst call ever. Fucking worst. Are you kidding me?
So, out of character, or has he been hiding who he really is?
I think it's out of
Cheap
character. I think he was just fired up. I think because
But this game,
what do you
like
mean?
Well,
the situation he's been in, and this is the game that gets him fired up.
You've lost 3 of 4.
Mm.
Yeah.
He's never been in this situation.
Where his
The whole
receivers
Taylor
are
Swift
shit.
media circus.
Yeah.
No, that, but his receivers are shit. Dropping passes that they have no business dropping. Because they should have won at least 2 of those games that they've lost.
Yeah.
And I think because of the Taylor Swift media circus, even more attention is on them.
Right.
The
Yeah.
narrative's not about the team anymore; it's about her.
Yeah.
I was going to talk about the worst NFL game in history, which was the Vikings and LA or Vegas Raiders game,
Oh, God.
which ended 3-0.
Which is not a scoregami.
That's
Not even
disgusting.
0-0 was a scoregami.
That's crazy.
We were really worried it was going to end on a tie.
And a 0-0 tie.
We were really worried it was going to end on a 0-0 tie.
Okay.
What a stupid game.
Yeah.
What a stupid, dumb, stupid game. Now, Minnesota's defense is very good, and they've gotten even better throughout the season. I would be so pissed if I wasted a 0 game and you guys
A
didn't
shutout,
score
yeah.
fucking anything.
Well, hey,
Or-
I'm just going to throw this out there. Defense can score points too.
That's true.
So
And at the
maybe
end of
they
the
needed.
day, a W is a W.
Yes. They don't ask you
At
how.
the end of the day, it's embarrassing now for Vegas. Could have been for both of them, could have been just Minnesota. It's embarrassing for Vegas. It was just a boring way to win for Minnesota. Was that the worst? Was that the worst game in recent NFL history?
100%.
We watched so much of it, and I'm so angry that happened.
The only game worth I can think of was the Super Bowl where 13-3 was the final, or whatever.
Oh yeah,
Oh yeah.
that
That was so bad,
sucked.
too.
That had a shitty halftime show too, didn't it?
I want to say
I know.
yes. Was that
I wanna
the
say-
Timberlake one?
I want to say that was like the Maroon 5
Oh
Super
god.
Bowl. Super Bowl LII. Oh, that was Patriots v Rams. Okay,
Yeah.
we'll get there. But let's talk about, while I find this, the Draymond Green. Oh, this was when Julian Edelman was the fucking MVP, because that's sort of catch.
Yeah.
Yep.
Talk to me about it. So Draymond Green has now been suspended indefinitely from the NBA.
Well,
The
was it
hockey
the NBA
section of
or
hockey.
was it the team that suspended him?
The NBA.
The NBA.
Okay.
The NBA did.
So of which of the egregious curb stomps got him kicked out this time?
Oh, him just like flat out punching a guy.
When he says, I was trying to flop. So he was trying to get technical on top of that, because if you flop, it's a technical foul. So he's outwardly saying, I was trying to cheat. But I was trying to flop and I just want to swing my arm. Bullshit. You flop, you fall on the ground,
Yeah.
arms like this. You don't turn around and swing.
It was the Maroon 5 halftime show.
I was just about to say it was definitely Maroon 5.
What a stupid year.
Worst Super Bowl of all time.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. 100% worst Super Bowl of all time. This is the Super Bowl that we had pre-COVID. Like, this was 2019.
Yep.
This is what we went into 2020 with, was a 13-3 Super Bowl that saw Julian Edelman as the MVP
I still think
In
he should have
fact-
gone to the field goal kicker.
and fucking Maroon 5 as your halftime show. And I think it was after the Maroon 5 halftime show that they were like, we need to make this
Better.
not what this is.
Yeah.
Then it was the Jennifer
Timberlake
Lopez
before that then,
Shakira.
or was it after?
The what, sorry?
Timberlake, was he before that one then, or after?
Timberlake would have been before. I'm
Okay.
pretty sure that Maroon 5
So
was the
Maroon
last,
5
like,
was the
okay.
one, and they're like, Jay-Z, please, here, take this. Make
Yeah,
great.
it was because I think the year after was the Shakira J-Lo, and then the awesome rap one, and then the Weeknd, and then Rihanna, or the, like, it got better because Maroon 5 was so shitty.
Yeah.
But yeah, so how long is Draymond Green being suspended for? When do we think we see him back?
I don't know, it's unprecedented.
I'm just like, well, I guess. Like, I know he punched someone, but he's kicked people, but he's stepped
He's
on
had
people.
a history in kicking people in the balls.
Yep.
He's kicked people in the balls. He's kicked people in the back of the legs. He's stepped on people while they're on the ground.
Yeah.
I'm just shocked it was this.
Yeah.
Are you reading about the worst Super Bowl of all time?
No. I was just seeing what the next Super Bowl after that was. It was the Kansas City, San Francisco one.
And who was halftime show?
and
That was
Shakira.
J-Lo and Shakira?
With the pylon coming out of nowhere.
Yeah.
The Ali
Yeah,
G.
Justin Timberlake was literally the year before. So it was back-to-back Limp Dick.
Yeah.
Who is LII halftime show? Hold on. And then we'll end this. I just want to see who was the Gaga was before. Lady Gaga.
that was the best. With the fucking Peyton. Where'd she go?
Yeah.
I do not remember that she did a halftime show.
Yeah, it was a good one too.
She started at the top of the thing,
top
just
of the
dove down.
stadium.
Oh, barely do I remember this.
And it ended it with a jumping catch.
Yeah.
That I remember. It was silly. There were many memes of that.
Yeah.
Many memes.
Oh, and that was also
What was
that was also Big Dick Nick, wasn't it?
Yeah. No.
No.
The Lady Gaga was the Patriots over the Falcons.
Oh, okay. So who was the halftime for Big Dick Nick?
Maybe that was Timberlake. That was Timberlake.
Okay. Broadcasting, advertising, international.
Wow, how did we all turn out
Halftime,
okay
Timberlake.
after a stretch of bizarre games and performers. Like I'm thrilled we all came out of this alive. Friends, any other sports news?
No, I think we covered it all.
Yeah.
Then let us call it an evening and join us on the Instagram. Join us on our one tweet in the last like 8 years. Join us on TikTok and just download and listen. Thanks for listening. Bye.